We're back today with another Throwback Thursday. This week's FFRL race was postponed, so yeah, we're doing this instead. Got an F1 2012 TGP Series Xbox race. We're 7th on the grid here at Monza, and we're going to have the 5 lights come on in a second. Our engineer wants us to finish in the top 4. We'll see if we can do better than that then, as we've got the 5 lights coming on now. And we are underway then, and a pretty good launch off the line there, using our curves now to try and get a good boost here. Looks like Sir Lane maybe wasn't using it there, but Platinum Impulse has had a great run there towards the first corner. A great launch off the line and into this tight first chicane, and it all looks very well behaved there. It doesn't look like there was any kind of major incident going on in that first chicane where we so often see carnage, but yep, everyone nice and tidy by the looks of things, and we're still in 7th position for the time being. And then behind them, Mercedes, a Platinum Impulse here towards the second chicane. Our teammate Brandon having a look running outside, but couldn't quite make it through there. It looked like there was a little bit of a squabble there up in front of us. The championship leader Arte being shuffled down into 6th position. So yeah, as I say, no FFRL this week, just because the numbers were too low, unfortunately, and the numbers for tier 2 were too high for us to do another combined grid thing. So yeah, sadly our race got postponed. Don't know if it will be rerun at some point, but yeah, hopefully we'll have enough drivers to do the next race next week. But yeah, gives us a chance to do another one of these Throwback Thursdays then, looking back on an old league race from one of the old games. And we're going all the way back today then, as you can see, to F1 2012, one of the first league races I ever recorded. And looking back, this is definitely like one of the most enjoyable times in league racing for me. It was like, I think, really like the time that really solidified my I guess my enjoyment of league racing. I did start league racing back in 2011, and that first league I raced in was really good, and I do have some good memories of it. But I think I was just like a lot younger than a lot of the other drivers in that league, and I sort of never really kept in contact with any of them after that. But this league, TGP, a lot of us were around about the same age. We always used to talk. As you can see in the voice chat there, it's very active during the race, and you know, we pretty much all got on with each other. And you know, we raced for about 4 seasons. It was in this league, just on this one game, and yeah, it was a really fun time. And there's like a lot of good memories still from racing in this league. So yeah, this is I've done like a few throwback Thursdays to this particular league and season, and this is why, really, just because you know there's so many good memories of racing with these guys. And yeah, just well, it's so long ago now, like 13 years. I look back and it was April 22nd 2013 that this race happened. So yeah, going back 13 years now, incredibly, for today's race. And yeah, like, compared to today, it just feels like just completely different. And well, I guess it is in a way. I mean, you know, the Formula One has changed so much in that time. As yeah, well, I guess we'll go back to the action now then, because there is stuff happening. They're challenging Deadly Cowbat towards the first corner here, and he's gone a bit deep there into the first chicane, but looks like he's managed to hold it. Something that was really the case in F1 2012 is that the track limits were extremely lenient, and yeah, and it was especially bad on this track as well. Like, you could really get away with cutting all the chicanes pretty much. As into Roger chicane then, and the two McLarens have actually collided with each other there, it looks like, and they're both off into the gravel. Arte and Mafurza there, and I think we were in like a 3-way title fight at this point, like me and those two. So yeah, that was like a pretty big moment there. I don't actually know what happened there because it's been so long. Yeah, I can't remember if that was just like they both went off at the same time or something, or one of them took the other out. But yeah, that was certainly a big moment there that happened in the race, and yeah, it certainly gave us a chance at this point then, because I didn't have the best qualifying. I feel like I tended to qualify better than this, but yeah, 7th wasn't particularly a good one that time round. Into Parabolica then, and yeah, clipped the grass a little bit too much there. That's going to hurt our run here out of the final corner, and I didn't save up any kind of curves there. I just wasn't using it at that point, but we do have DRS now then down the pit straight. DRS enabled after 2 laps back in these days. as yeah, we're heading down towards turn 1 now then, and yeah, Brandon a lot more confident than me on the brakes, but having said that, everyone else went off the track there into the first chicane, and I was the only one who managed to get it slowed down, so yeah, we do manage to retake that position there. But yeah, I remember back in these days, I just really was not at all confident on the brakes. I always ran without ABS, so that was probably part of it. But yeah, it always seemed like everyone else had like a lot more confidence than me. As yeah, once again, Brandon goes through, but then goes straight off again. So that gives us a place back there. And yeah, we just have to see now then if we can catch back up to that podium fight then with Calpat and Platinum Impulse here. We've got DRS and used a bit of our curves here down towards Ascari, so we are getting a great run here then on the Mercedes here. We're looking to the inside, and well, this was, yeah, again, it's just like, I felt like I braked a little bit too late there, and I tried to take a forward in action, and yeah, just cut across the inside, clipped Platinum Impulse a little bit, and thankfully there wasn't a major collision there, because yeah, it did feel like I just braked like a slightly bit too late there, but it was enough to send me like, well, to feel like I was completely outbraking myself there and nearly running into the side of the Mercedes, which was the case really. But we do have another great run here now then down the pit straight with the DRS here, as Legion up in first or second is setting the fastest lap of the race, then up near the front into turn 1, and wow, Brandon there completely wiping us out. But actually this was another thing in F1 2012, the dreaded lag barrier or lag bubble, whatever you wanted to call it, where incidents happened on one person's screen but they didn't happen on the other person's screen. And yeah, I remember Brandon was adamant that that didn't happen on his screen, and well, I can certainly believe that, as he's actually off the road now himself. So we're going to get back up into 10th position now then. But yeah, I can definitely believe that, because another thing in this game is that the penalties are extremely strict. Like, the track limits were extremely lenient. The penalties for like collisions and stuff were really strict. Like, if you had a collision with another car and the other car spun, it doesn't matter whose fault it was, you were getting a penalty. Like, end of. No, like, no questions asked there. And Brandon, I'm pretty sure, did not get a penalty for that. So yeah, I think it's quite clear really that that accident didn't happen on his screen. So yeah, that was just another thing that was a case in F1 2012 that you sort of had to deal with back then. And thankfully it's something that they have managed to eventually now rectify in these games, it feels like. There's still, you know, the odd connection issue every now and then with the netcode. It goes a bit weird, but on the whole, that kind of thing doesn't really happen anymore, which is good to see that they finally fixed that. As yeah, we're on lap 6 now then, and completely messed off screen there, but Mafurza spun coming out of the chicane there. We couldn't quite pick it up on the onboard camera, but yeah, we gained a place there then. So we're looking at Kev here down towards the second chicane, but once again, no confidence at all on the brakes, and Brandon just sweeps from the outside there. And then Kev actually loses it out of the chicane there, so that allows us to get through anyway then, and up into a 9th position here. So yeah, we're starting to finally make a bit of a recovery here then, but yeah, both of us on a fight back then, the two Ferrari drivers here at the moment. I can sort of remember it being like a thing that, because we were teammates for quite a while, that it always felt like we got hard done by with bad luck and stuff, but I think it did happen to everyone else as well a lot of the time, just because of how this game was with like lag barriers and the dodgy penalties and stuff. So yeah, I just remember we were teammates for a long time. I think there was like a race where like the game glitched and we ended up overtaking the safety car and getting disqualified or something. That was a weird thing that happened in this season. But yeah, we're crossing the line then. We're nearly at, well, pretty much at half distance now then, as we're looking at Brandon down the pit straight here, and DLT, who was up at the front, has already made his pit stop here. But what was interesting about this game is that for some reason they got rid of the tyre wear scaling. It's a thing that's been in all of the future games, and it was actually in games before this as well, but for some reason they got rid of it in this one. So how it is normally, like if you do a 50% race, then the tyre wear is like, it's like 50% more than, well, twice as much I should say, as it would normally be. But in this, it always treats the tyre wear as if it's 100% race. So yeah, in like a 25% league like this, you would hardly ever notice much tyre wear happening, even though, you know, this was back in the days when the Pirelli tyres would wear out quite quickly. And on a track like Monza, where it used the medium and the hard tyre as the option on the prime, like there was barely any tyre wear. You can see it on the graphic there that it's barely done anything to our tyres so far. So yeah, my plan in this race was just to run as long as possible on the medium, which was the faster tyre here, as we're lining up Brandon here down towards the Parabolica, and we're going to be through then and back up into 7th place. But yeah, my plan was just to run as long as possible on this option tyre, as we've got Hickey in the pits. I remember Hickey always used to just not bother qualifying, always start at the back and always go for the prime tyres. I don't know why, he just always wanted to make it harder for himself doing that, but yeah, that was always what he chose to do. And yeah, he's already getting rid of the prime tyres then. We saw Alex Stop, aka Legion, then just coming out of the pits as well there. It looked like he was in a fight with DLT for the lead of the race then. And yeah, we've got a lot of work to do in this race because obviously we fell quite a way back then and lost almost a pit stop to those guys up at the front then, because yeah, they were just coming out of the pits as we were going past the pit exit there. So yeah, certainly a lot of work for us to do in this race then, but we're just going to hope that this overcut strategy works as well as possible then, because like I say, you know, the option, which is the medium tyre at this track, can actually go quite a long way because it's based on, you know, the tyre wear as if it was 100% race distance. Again, I don't know why on earth they did that, because I remember it was very unpopular when it was like first announced that was going to be the case. But yeah, Sirlane then has had a moment out of Ascari, and we're going to get through then. But yeah, going back to that, I have no idea why they got rid of that for this game, but because like I say, it was in the previous games and it was in future games as well, but for some reason they just decided not to do it on this one. And yeah, I remember it didn't go down too well, but yeah, it did allow us to do some different kind of strategies around tracks like this then, as we have just set the fastest lap of the race then. So we're really on a charge now then, in some clear air, and these yeah, these option tyres are continuing to perform very well then, despite being, you know, the softer tyre for this race. So yeah, we're just going to keep on pushing on at the moment then. And at the end of lap 9 here, we're going to see that Deadly Cowpat in the other Red Bull, it was him and DLT that were the two Red Bull drivers then. So he's in the pits now then. He's also run quite long on that option tyre, I believe. And that moves us up now then into 2nd place as we're trying to close back down Platinum Impulse then. He was also running long into the Grand Prix. And at the end of lap 10, the game starts trying to remind us that we do have to come in at some point and put the prime tyres on, because we were running so long into the race here. As Platinum Impulse then gives up the lead now then and makes their pit stop. But it was really nice to see him up at the front in this race. Platinum Impulse, James, he was also known as J Campbell 7 later on. Sadly, he passed away only a few months after this race, and you know, he was a really nice guy. He was a really popular driver in the league. So yeah, it was really nice to see his name up at the top of the standings there for a few laps during this race. And yeah, it's now us in the lead now then for the time being, but obviously we still need to pit, and the same for Brandon then in 2nd place. So yeah, whilst it is a Ferrari 1-2 at the moment, we will be coming in. Not on this lap, because we're going to run as long as possible here, but I think Brandon will be in this time round, and then obviously we will go for it on the next lap and just do the one run then, or the one lap on the prime tyres then, because yeah, they just, from what I remember, it was just the prime tyres just seemed really slow on this track, because you know, it was the hardest tyre that Pirelli had in their range at the time. So yeah, I remember it was just quite a slow tyre, and on a track like this where the tyre wear wasn't really too bad, you could just run this medium for pretty much the whole race, and it was the faster tyre to run here. So yeah, we cross line now then onto the penultimate lap of the race, still in the lead here, and our teammate Brandon is going to come in now then. So yeah, we both ran it as long as we could here, and yeah, next time round we will be in. So here we are now then at the end of lap 12, and we'll see just how effective this overcut was. We've, as I say, we've run all the way to the end of the race then. We're just going to do this final lap on the prime tyres, but you can see behind everyone was still having quite a scrap. It was just DLT then who was going to go through and into the lead. You know, he had some great pace in this race and he's going to take the win still, but behind there was a real scrap going on that we managed to avoid by staying out longer. And would you look at that then, we've had a mega overcut there, and we rejoined then comfortably in second place. We're using a bit of curves there out of the pits just to try and make sure, but we didn't even really need to because, yeah, we had a comfortable gap there to Legion in third. So, yeah, it's worked an absolute treat here then. Still got a bit of fuel saved up as well, so we can run in rich for this final lap as well. And, yeah, it was just incredible, really, how well that overcut worked. I mean, I think it was always my plan in this race to try and do that, but it did get a little bit derailed because of that lag barrier incident. I mean, we dropped down to, we were 11th on the beginning of lap 5 because of that incident, and yeah, just 8 laps later, came out of the pits and in second position, and it was, yeah, I was absolutely delighted with how well this worked. I mean, I think DLT was just too quick here because he's continuing to build that gap. Just now we've got the prime tyres on, we are just losing pace now because it just was a slower tyre here, like much slower. But still, I was really delighted with how well this worked out. I don't think I would have been able to challenge DLT for the win, but yeah, I was just delighted really to have second place here. I'd say it looks like he's going to get up to third then in our championship fight here, which he did ultimately come out on top of. We crossed line then for second position with DLT there taking the victory. And as I say, Arte then in third, the eventual champion of this season, on the podium there. Alex Stopp in fourth. Mafurza then, the other McLaren, recovering from that, well, a couple of incidents in that race, to fifth. James, as we mentioned, in sixth position. Elusive Kev seventh. Our teammate Brandon in eighth. And then Kells and the other Sauber in ninth. And Simon Shelley, aka I think that's CK the Flying Scott there in 10th position. Pippin Hickey to the final point there, so not quite sure what happened to Hickey there, or Calpat in fact, because he was running quite well and then dropped back down the order there. So yeah, quite a lot happening off screen there, and obviously it's been such a long time that I can't remember what happened now. Justin Midget, he was in this league as well then, the former Xbox host in 13th. Answer Lane, don't know what happened to him, but he managed to get disqualified there. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed this little throwback race. Hopefully FF4L will be back next time, and yeah, at some point in the future we will do another one of these Throwback Thursdays then. Let me know if you've got any suggestions, and I'll see you next time.